Hey everyone, welcome back. I think it's Tuesday, doesn't matter. I have taken a little detour on working on the Nova. I'm gonna get it tuned on Thursday, so a couple days from now. And I'm working on my wife's new car. So I purchased a 2005, 2006 Mini Cooper S, supercharged, pretty cool, convertible. You know, it's 4-cylinder, so it's good on gas. She's been driving a lot more and needs something that's better on gas. So this, I think she's averaging 25 around town right now, so that's 10 miles a gallon better than any of the cars we currently own. So she's happy, but there's a few maintenance items. So I replaced the belt, which was really not that bad. There is a aftermarket crank pulley. My light is charging, or I'd turn it on. Aftermarket crank pulley by M7. It's a 4% underdrive. So getting a little bit of boost out of that. And then there is an upper pulley as well on the supercharger. You can kind of see it there. That's a 16%. Now, from what I've read online, you can run up to a 17% on the upper, but I haven't heard anything about changing the crank pulley. So I wondered if this thing needs a tune. It's kind of weird off the line. It's a little bit sluggish. It doesn't rev as fast as I think it should. But that could be any number of issues. This has apparently been in an accident. They had to replace a front bumper and a few other things. So I'm finding things as I go. It does have a sweet set of coilovers, ASTs, rotoform wheels, front and rear. It's got brand new Recaros in it. Recaros, however you want to say it. Really nice. Yeah, just a fun little car, and it's convertible, which is sweet, even though currently waiting on the gear that goes in the convertible top to get here from Germany or Italy or something. If you don't grease these rails often, then they can get kind of tight, and then when you try to open the top, it grinds the plastic gear out, which happened twice now, because the car came with a replacement motor. So put that in, and it did the same thing. Come to find out, you got to grease it better, even though I already greased it. The other thing that's notorious on these cars is the overflow tank. So that guy there is a leaker. So it's going to get replaced with this nice aluminum one, which was like 40 bucks on Amazon. Same price as the plastic one. Would probably leak again. So that's getting changed. And then the other thing, I didn't realize that these cars had electric power steering, which would be fine, except they have a fan to cool them. This is the original fan from 2005. Kept blowing a fuse, and then come to find out in the troubleshooting steps that that's why the reverse sensors don't work on this car. So, got a new fan. But of course, trying to save a little bit of money, I got just a replacement fan and not the whole assembly. So the whole assembly was like $200, and this fan is $55. I mean, it's just a standard Spall fan. It's not like brushless or anything. It's just a 12-volt fan. Pretty simple. Well, the mount, wherever I put it here. This mount is made for the stock one, and the bolt holes were too small because this aftermarket one, these holes are bigger than the stock one. So they kind of just absorb the screws. So I'm like, all right, I'll just get new screws. Well, new screws, they fit there, didn't fit the holes. So I had to drill the holes out, and I gotta wait for the paint to dry, and I'm gonna mount the fan up. What a debacle, as usual, working on cars. So once I get the power steering fan back in, I'm gonna do the coolant. I need to rotate the tires in some fashion if possible. I had to adjust the coilovers all the way up. I don't know who decided that you need 7 inches of lowering on a car that's like from the factory 3 inches off the ground. So, I mean, you would basically be dumping this thing in the weeds no matter what you had on it, unless you had some giant wheels and tires, which you can't fit because it's, you know, height limited. So anyway, so the coilovers, this one is all the way up, so I need to take the other side off, do the same in the front and the rear, and hopefully it doesn't look weird afterwards. I mean, it looks good. I'll throw a picture in here. It looks good the way it was, but it's like way too low. We live on a dirt road, and that's just not acceptable. It's gonna need a bottom motor mount. What else? I have a list of things. Anyways, just kind of a little update. New toy, new project, commuter car. It's kind of cute. Might get an exhaust one day. It's not too loud currently, so maybe we'll just leave it that way, but as of now. Oh, the other big thing, it has a kick-ass stereo. This thing has an aftermarket Kenwood head unit, which I'm not a huge fan of Kenwood. However, that stereo is hooked to a JL 5-channel amp under the seat. It's got these infinities, 6.5s front and rear. The front is a separate tweeter because it goes in a stock location, has crossovers under the seat. And then, like I said, 6.5s in the rear and a JL10 in the trunk. This is probably the best sounding car stereo I've ever heard. I mean, it is absolutely insane. I was playing with it one day in the parking lot here and just kind of, you know, screwing with the radio and stuff, trying to make it sound better. My wife said that the treble was a little too high. I had this thing thumping so hard that I think it killed the fuel pump because it was sitting there idling, because I don't want to kill the battery, right? And it was sitting there idling, and then just all of a sudden it just died. And I started doing troubleshooting, and it was getting power to the pump. I took the pump out to test it. I dropped the damn thing, and then when I tested it, it tested fine. So I said, okay. So I put it back in the car. Been driving ever since. So we try not to turn the bass up quite that loud, but, you know, it may or may not have actually killed it. Who knows? You know what it probably did was it vibrated the bottom of the, because it's got a pickup that it sits in, the pump. It probably vibrated some dirt up, and then the pump just sucked it up. That's a pretty good possibility. Okay, long update. All right, so today is tuning day. Filling up with the e85. Gonna call the tuner as soon as I get to the reception and have him remote in and just kind of, you know, do his thing. Get this thing running right. For some reason today, it's decided to run a little hot, even though it's 60 degrees outside. I don't know if maybe the humidity is causing it. I don't know. I checked the coolant level, it's full. It's not leaking out, it's still pressurized, but the gauge is reading like 210 while sitting at a stoplight. So it's a little higher than normal. It's not overheating, but it's certainly not what I want. But either way, we'll get her tuned up, see how it runs. Okay, so here we are, being live tuned. Mr. Carlos running through target air fuel. If you can even see that on camera. But we're about 30 minutes in, and he's made a lot of changes so far. So I had my map sensor scaling wrong. I had my target air fuels wrong. I had some pretty interesting peaks and valleys in the fuel table. Yeah, so about all the things you could have wrong. He also said my injectors are junk, which I have heard that, so I'm not totally surprised. So we continue on. I just wanted to note that today is a beautiful day, and it's been rainy, and it's supposed to be rainy the next couple days, so I absolutely lucked out. Able to come out, just sit, technology being amazing, letting somebody tune my car for me while I sit and watch. Very reasonably priced, by the way. I'll put a link to his Facebook in my video. Sorry, he was talking to me. So yeah, just some logs, go out and drive it, and see how it does. Okay, so he's just finishing up a few things, and then we're going to go for a drive. I'm just going to leave the camera on. I probably won't be able to talk to it very much because I'm going to be talking to him, but you'll at least be able to watch. It's a 92, cheap Chinese, but I paid some money. just playing with the idle. Sorry, not the idle. When you stab it, that first initial acceleration enrichment, it's stumbling a little bit. He thinks it maybe had a false lean. So he's just kind of looking everything over. He's logging it. We'll do a throttle stab and then back and forth. Tuning it right now, so thanks, man. Sorry, I had a guy stop by asking if I needed help. That seemed fine. Fuel to the fuel table, and then now he's adding it to the acceleration enrichment. It gets hot in these rhinos. Okay, that shouldn't be too long. Good. say, boy, that's a lot of fuel, or I'm having to add a lot of fuel. So it sounds like he's having some fueling conundrums. But he said it was fluctuating back and forth when I was in steady state, saying it wanted fuel, didn't want fuel, wanted fuel, didn't want fuel. And he said that doesn't make sense, which, I don't know, I guess it could be an oxygen sensor issue. I don't know. Surging the whole time it was going, so he thinks that maybe the second fuel pump is screwing up with him. Oh, you know what? It dropped. Hold on, I see it. Okay, shutting off now. So I have the fuel pump run off of a key on, but it's not key on hot. And the PWM pump was kind of filling in that gap on startup. It's just a wiring issue that I have. Let's see. Yeah. Well, so when I key on, the pump primes. When I put it in the start position, the pump shuts off. So it's not hot all the time. Yeah. Something I just, you know, kind of put in the back burner because it was working with the PWM pump. Because it was set for a 5-second prime. Is there any way to have it do that? You guys there for a second. So we had some issues with the second fuel pump, so my PWM wiring is all screwed up, so it needs to be redone. So basically at this point it would be fine if I had my key on wiring set correctly, but when I key on crank I get no 12 volts to the pumps, which is how I have it wired. So before, my PWM pump was taking up that time frame because it was priming for 5 seconds, but now I don't have that, so when I go to start it, it won't start. So I think that's probably where the camera shut off. At this point, we're still doing some steady state tuning. We did some third gear pulls, 2,000 to 6,000 RPM. The car's feeling better. Still got a little surging, but it's, you know, it's a process. So we've been on the phone for 2 hours now, and we have a 3-hour window. So he's just going over things. Gonna have to give it up for these Camaro brakes though, because I've been putting these things through the paces today. I've ever actually smelled them before, but they've definitely gotten hot today. They're on my list of things to change. I got new pads, I just don't want to put on these old rotors. Shut the car off. First problem, but that's my own wiring issues. The other issues, I'm not getting 100% throttle, so that's another issue. He thinks the injectors aren't as good as they should be, and I've heard snake eater injectors can be hit or miss. He's thinking that the off idle stumble when I stab it, he's thinking that the injectors are maybe getting stuck open and they're kind of leaking fuel and not performing as they should. Maybe the response time's not as good. So I may have to look into like a next step up as far as quality. But he said that the tune was good. At least the third gear pulls from 2 to 6 were good, and that everything looked good otherwise. So yeah, injectors, throttle cable, and pump wiring, and then we need to meet back up and see about finishing the tune. So that's it. I'm gonna head home, and yeah, I think it was pretty successful. I feel good about it. It's hotter than balls in here, but you know, that happens. So there you go. Well, here she sits in her temporary home until I fix the wiring. He dropped the idle down to like 800. Sounds pretty good.
Okay, I need to take a second here and explain what's going on with the fuel pumps. So the car has dual fuel pumps. The first main fuel pump is supposed to run anytime the key is on. It does that except when I'm cranking. So when I crank, it loses 12-volt signal, which turns the relay off, which loses fuel pressure. Now, before I started tuning with Carlos, that wasn't an issue because the second pump, which I have set up for pulse width modulation, would prime for 5 seconds, and it would allow me time to start the car. Carlos doesn't use PWM for his second pump, he just wants on or off, which I'm totally okay with. The problem was, when he changed the PWM setting to just be on or off, it then took that 5-second window out of the equation. So when I went to start the car on the road, I wasn't getting 12-volt cranking to the main pump, so the car wouldn't start. So what I need to do is just wire both of the pumps to their own individual relays and wire them correctly off of the Holley. The purpose of running the PWM second pump was to reduce fuel temperatures, but with it on or off, it actually works the same, and I don't really need that infinite adjustability. At this point, the car just needs a rewire. I need to fix the throttle cable, and then we need to meet back up with Carlos and get the car final tuned. So I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tune in next time. Hopefully we'll get the car final tuned and make a dyno appointment, or at least take it to the track and see what she can trap. Thanks again.